Thanks for listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. We're all here. Most of the people who do the chit chat on the podcast are here. So we'll just go in orders and get updates in order of importance, should we say. So Ashley.
Whoa. Time out. You starting off like that? Is that how it's going to be?
I knew this was going to be a sassy one.
Yeah, I was trying to add to some of the controversy right off the top.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead, Ashley.
Ashley, updates.
No, life is good. My in-laws are in town. So I had my dad and my stepmom in town last week, and this week I've got my in-laws. So it's been awesome. It's so nice to have 2 extra people. So it's like we've got 4 adults to 1 little human. So it's super nice. And yeah. Oh, my husband's birthday's today. So it's kind of cool. He's older than me. So I always give him a hard time for that.
Nice.
And yeah, last little one I've got, I've just been looking into a lot of different things. Emily has kind of been stirring the pot for me. And so I'm looking into pursuing a functional nutritionist. So more to come on that. I haven't really pulled the trigger just quite yet, but going to be doing lots of testing, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen. So
that's really cool. Keep us updated.
Will do.
Yeah. Just the path Emily's been down with that has been insane. She's even forced me to do a few things that I'm not interested in doing, but I did it anyway. But yeah, so I'm sure that a lot more will come from that. So that's cool.
Yeah, I thought about doing a deep dive of like tests and testing anything and everything you can just for like GWiz knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely something Liz has to go down.
Yeah. Okay, now I got to flip a coin between Kyle and Joe.
You know who it is.
Just pick a number between 1 and 10.
It's okay. Kyle wasn't here last week. He has some ground to make up.
All right, Kyle, you can go.
I was going to say 7, but whatever.
That's the number I was thinking. You nailed it.
See? Told you. So my big update is I got a new rack in the gym. And so apparently mentioning that I was getting a new rack on Monday, which is when I got it, during our team meeting was offensive to some people because they wanted to be surprised on the podcast like other people. So I've kept the rest of it shrouded in mystery. So you'll see a picture of it posted after we get done recording. But the
You're
story
still keeping it a secret? Even on the podcast?
No, I'm telling you the story.
Oh, okay.
He won't hear this for a few days, Kyle.
The story is that a friend of mine who is actually one of the parents in my youth group is a personal trainer here in town. They moved to a new space, didn't have room for this rack that they had. And we were doing a Zoom meeting as part of I was doing a parent meeting for the youth ministry. And I was doing it in the rack like I do, the podcast. And he said, "Hey, what is that thing you're standing in?" I was like, "It's a power rack that I built myself." And he was like, "I've got one at my gym. You can come and get it." I was like, "Okay, I'll come and get it." So I went and got it, and I took down my old power rack, and I've got a new rack now. And I don't know what brand it is. It's a commercial one. I don't see a sticker or anything on it. So, but it's really cool, and it's made of metal. It's not made of wood.
It's made of metal. I love it.
So it's kind of a bittersweet moment, getting rid of the old power rack, the new one, or the one that I built myself. But
it's good to get off the wood.
It's the end of an era.
Yeah.
I'm giving it away to somebody. Somebody's coming to pick it up today. So
yeah, I think I concluded the only DIY project I have left is my plyometric box. And the jerk boxes are great. Like I leave them in my garage to like set things on, but I literally don't use them at all.
They're like tables.
Yeah. I mean, I did all those DIY projects in the Garage Gym Athlete book, and people thought that I just like loved that. It was just very cost effective at the time. You save up a little bit of money here and there, or get things given to you. And there's always that like the sweat equity, like you have to go, like you have to come pick it up, and like, I remember when I got all that flooring for free, I think I've told the story, but it was just like massive amounts of flooring from a t-shirt company that was going out of business, and it was exact stuff from Tractor Supply, but it was, if you guys have ever seen them at my house, they're like 30 feet long.
Yeah.
And I remember I went and I was getting them, and I got like enough for what I needed in my garage. And then the guy was like, no, dude, I'm giving this all for free. I know what it's worth. You need to get it all out of here. And I was like, oh, okay. And that was like, I don't know, probably one of the top Meet Yourself Saturday workouts I've ever completed. If you think moving a 6x4 Tractor Supply mat is tough, try a 6x30 by yourself. And I had to do that. I had to like figure out how to roll them up and fit them all in a Nissan Frontier, tiny truck. And I managed to do it. And if you saw my old house, which I think you'd all been to except for Kyle, I had flooring that covered the backyard concrete, the garage, and I still had like some left over. So yeah, but I love situations like that where, hey, you come get it and it's yours.
So Kyle, this person that you worked with didn't know you lifted at home?
He did. He had just never seen, he'd never been over here. He'd never seen my rack or anything. And
Your setup.
yeah, normally I would do meetings like that upstairs in the kitchen, but kids make that kind of hard sometimes, different times of the day. So
People take pity on you when you have wooden features. Like, it's true. Like, all I got, I never even asked. All I got from aunts, uncles, in-laws, everything, my parents on birthdays, Christmas, were Rogue gift cards. They'd come over to my house and be like, really? Like 4x4s in a cement bucket for squatting. I'm like, it works. And they're like, okay. And I get like $100 here, $100 there and stuff. So people want you to be safe. I want you to be safe.
see, I don't have that now. Everything's metal in here. So
And
no more free stuff.
Live
Metal
forever.
life.
Joe, last but not least.
Try to follow that, Joe.
Best for last. It's a pretty big update. It's pretty good. Jared will especially like it. So we had intervals this week in Deer. 45-second ones, then 90-second ones, then 45 again. And on the very last one, I was able to get my heart rate up to 90+%.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It
Yeah.
happened. See?
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm
big
excited.
That was a
update.
big update.
I feel like people need the backstory on it. Do you want me to do it or you want to do it?
Sure, you can go ahead because you like to poke at it.
Yeah. Okay. So Joe has a ridiculously low resting heart rate. It's like in the 30s. It's impressive. And I'm just like, I've never really worked with somebody whose resting heart rate was that low. And like, we share data all the time. And, we would do intervals and stuff and he would share data and like his heart rate was never getting that high. And I was like, he couldn't get into these upper percentages, these upper thresholds. And I was like, well, I don't know what's going on, but it has something to do with his lower threshold. Like I'm guessing if he has like a 30 beat per minute resting heart rate, like for some reason, that's why he can't get high. He can't get to the 80, 85, 90, whatever. And so I just kind of rolled with that for like a year and a half. And then Joe starts posting, I think it was Whoop data at the time, or maybe it was Garmin data of his lacrosse games where he's playing lacrosse. And every single time his heart rate is in those upper thresholds, 80, 85, 90, 95%, no issue, and every single time. And I was like, okay, you don't have a problem getting into those upper thresholds. It's not like a physiological issue. I said it was a psychological issue. For some reason in training, you didn't want to push it that hard. So that's why I've always given crap about it.
A little column A, a little column B. All right? when you're being chased or chasing someone, it's a little bit different than just a training session.
No, I agree. There's a difference between game day and practice.
Yeah. So that's what happened. But it took until the very last one. So the last set was 6 for 45 seconds. And the previous 5, I was only getting to 87. I was actually trying to get up there. But yes, maybe the last one, I just finally left it all out. And I got it to 91. And so I was in zone 5 for all of 12 seconds. But that's 12 seconds more than normal.
Yeah. So I can spend all of Murph in zone 5 somehow. But 12 seconds is...
So that would not have been sustainable or repeatable. I had to run a full... So from 87% to 91%, it was a full 30-second pace faster in order to get up there.
Yeah.
So
That's fast.
that was my big update.
I love
and then
it.
The next one, yeah. Next one
Start
is
calling you Chris Traeger.
I don't know what that is.
I don't get the reference.
Parks and Rec.
Okay.
Just move on.
Yeah,
Other people will get it.
that's fine.
Yeah.
We're going to edit that one out.
Yeah, just cut it.
So also what I tried on the same day, I was looking up some stuff over the weekend, but I actually started paying attention to my form for running recently. And I think it's something that I also want to kind of challenge athletes to do, is that we look at our barbell forms and our lifts and stuff like that, but running just kind of falls to the wayside. People are just like, well, running, it's just running. You just do it. But form actually can make a big difference. And I think a while back, because I have tendonitis in my Achilles, is I would have much of a heavier heel strike and not going into dorsiflexion or whatever. And I was trying to like keep the stress for my Achilles some. I was having a much harder heel strike, and I think I was causing some issues and just speed in general. So I started to focus on this past day of shifting my weight forward, leaning forward further, and putting more on the balls of my feet. And I think that helped me get a little bit faster and just a little bit more comfortable. So running faster because of form. And I think it's cool to just look into. You don't necessarily have to video yourself, but just look up tips and see how your foot is striking and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's something I do try and pay attention to. And it's easier going a lot slower to practice first. If you're trying to get the more midfoot to forefoot strike as opposed to heel strike, then you're going to have to start a little bit slower. And what I've noticed is when I get tired, I lose all that focus on my form. Like let's just bring Murph into an example. Like mile 1, I probably have really great form, like the forefoot strike and like doing really well. And then I'm so tired on the last one, I'm probably heel striking the whole mile because I'm just getting like sloppy and lazy and just doing anything I can to finish the mile as fast as possible. But I try and focus and like think about it, but as much as you can in that workout.
I took a running class before, and it's really cool. And they like video you and they show you like where you're losing speed because you're going too high because of where you're at. And then like one of the cool things you can try, so you could try it, Joe, is if you run backwards, for some reason you hit where you're supposed to hit sometimes. And so they make you run backwards and see like if you're hitting with the balls of your feet versus heel striking or just running on your toes or whatnot. And so that was really cool to do. I did it with a coach friend of mine.
Yeah, and there are a lot of performance-based physical therapists I'm sure people could find in their area to do like a gait analysis or run form analysis or something. And that's a really helpful thing, like taking a class like Ashley did, or just filming yourself on a true form runner or something. They can check those out. Which I have a question for you guys. If I had a true form runner,
oh no.
Do you think if I were to do Murph and run my miles on that, what do you think the world would think about it? Would it count?
How official it would be?
Yeah, would it count?
I guess because it is officially measuring it, but that's a good question.
I mean, I could see some like...
That's what they did in the games.
That's what I was going to say. They use it in CrossFit.
They've used it in the games, but when they did Murph in the games, they didn't use that. They ran some random...
I think it was regionals. I think they use them, but yeah.
So I thought about it. I don't know.
I guess the question is...
a true form just for that.
No.
I think the question is, do you want to go by CrossFit standards or do you want to actually run the miles?
Yeah, so it hurts in my brain a little bit. I mean, I would probably run faster, I think, on a true form runner because there's an elevation change no matter where I run around here. It might be a small one, but there's going to be an elevation change, which is going to affect your times.
Also, you're starting your miles immediately. There's not like whatever I don't know where you measure your mile from, but like even if it's 10, 15 feet from your rack to where you start, could be even longer down a driveway.
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever get one, to be honest. There are too many other things on my list that I would spend that money on before I would get that.
It's kind of like an entire new set of like power rack and weights and barbell all in itself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't live in a climate where I'm like, I got to spend a lot of time inside, so it makes sense. It doesn't make any sense. It's like 300 days of sun here. Okay. Updates for me. I don't have a ton. I have a big one, but I'm not going to talk about it. You guys already know about it. I'm not ready to talk about it yet. I'm not ready to talk about it, but I will be over time. But I will just mention what it's in relation to. So the Murph world record was set by that trail racer guy, and he did like 34 and some change or whatever, unpartitioned. And I've actually just been getting a ton of, and I love it. I love the internet. Like, how many people will question your integrity just because they can't do something is just astounding to me. And it's awesome. And I normally call people out on it. Like, people don't email me anymore. I used to get a lot of like emails about this stuff. The world is evolving and changing. It's primarily direct messages on Instagram now, or like YouTube comments or something like that. People are just like, you can't do Murph that fast. I'm like, okay, got it. Like, thank you for your input. Anyway, I just want to let the Garage Gym Athlete community know I'm not going to let you guys down, and that's all I'm going to say right now. And that's it. More to come in coming weeks. Okay, now I just want to like pandemic update around here. This is kind of an update. My wife and I just spent the last 10 years of our lives together married. What do you call that? 10-year wedding anniversary.
I was like, what?
Yeah. So we had our 10-year wedding anniversary, and we went out to eat, and it was crazy. It was crazy busy. Like, just things in Texas. I don't think people care anymore at all. And I'm not trying to make anything controversial about whether or not people care about the economy or care about human life. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm just giving you an observation about what I saw here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Pretty insane. But it also seems to be working out for now, and it's nice. I hope everyone is like that. I know Tennessee gave up a long time ago. They're like, whatever.
Not worth it.
Yeah, we're kind of paying for that now, but we don't want to go into that.
Yeah.
Maryland's still pretty closed off, but they just authorized restaurants to open outside, and there you can even set up places in their parking lots just to meet outside.
Well, Texas allowed for you to get open container alcohol during the pandemic, and then the governor was just like, you know what, this is a great idea. Let's just keep it.
That's awesome.
And so that's a new law in Texas.
All of Texas?
Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely going to Austin later this summer.
Yeah. So, I would look into the intricacies of that. I laughed when I saw that update. I was like, wow, Texans are crazy. I guess I am one. All right, well, let's get into the study. Enough chit chat. Joe actually pulled the study. I love it. I love this study a lot.
It's just for Ashley.
Thank you.
Just so whenever she talks about women's studies, she can't mention it again for another 3 months.
Well, this is one of those perfectly, like, it's so useful, right? It's immediately useful information. And so the name of the study is Effects of Two Different Recovery Postures During High Intensity Interval Training. The study was done in 2019, so still relatively recent. And what they had was, it was 24 female Division II soccer players between the ages of 18 and 22 years old. It ended up being 20 because some of them dropped out and some of them, whatever, didn't report the data, whatnot. Anyway, they looked at, what were the three things? They looked at VCO2, which is how much carbon dioxide you breathe out, tidal volume, which is just how much air you breathe in and out during one ventilation cycle, and then heart rate recovery were the main parameters that they were looking at. And they had them do, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was 4 by 4 minute intervals running with 3 minutes recovery, and they had to get up to 90 to 95% max heart rate. So pretty intense stuff. And then they had 2 different recovery postures. It was hand on head, which they called the HH recovery posture, and the HK recovery posture, which was hands on knees. And they wanted to see, okay, which one's better, if any. And before we get into the results, we looked at this as a recovery methodology of just laying down, right? Like that was the best. And they mentioned that in the study as like, yeah, we get it. That's a great recovery method. They talk about it like 15 different times in the study, but it's not realistic. And I think that's a great point, because if you are a garage gym athlete and you're trying to recover between bouts, sure, you could lay down if you want to. But if you're in a game of some sort, or if you're on a team practicing and you're like, hold on, you lay down.
Just lay down. Oh wait, they got timeout.
Like, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. So what ended up the results, and we can talk about some of the details of all the stuff you guys want to, but hands on knees, 1 out in basically every category, VCO2, tidal volume, and heart rate recovery. So if you want to recover better, put your hands on your freaking knees. And now we can talk about it. And I know there's some other things we can get into, but Ashley, what were your thoughts?
So what I thought about was, and Kyle's going to talk about this too, so I played soccer. I grew up playing soccer, and I played in college and all throughout high school, but all my coaches always told me to rest my hands on my head, every single one of them, and they said, you can take a deeper breath. Or if someone was feeling bad, they always said, no, don't hunch over, stand straight up and take a deep breath, put your hands on your head and slow yourself down. That's what I've always been told. So it's kind of funny. The study just basically blew that out of the water, saying, no, actually, if you're going to recover better, it's better for you to put your hands on your knees. I also thought hands on my head would be better, because I would think that standing straight up, my diaphragm would be able to expand more, therefore giving me more air. But what they talked about in the study was because of the extension, basically you have external rotation of your rib cage. So it's causing you to not get as much air versus when you are bent over with your hands on your knees, which to me, looking at it wouldn't make sense, but shoot, what we always say, science is science. So clearly this works. And then all I kept thinking of too was when I was recovering as a soccer player, so I played defense, and you always kind of had to be ready. So getting my hands on my knees, I guess I can still have a good look of the pitch, of the field, of the soccer field. But I feel like I would just have so many coaches just yelling at me. Like, my maiden name was Smith, and that's what they all coaches call you by your last name. I don't know why that is, but Smith, get up and come on, don't be a pansy.
There's probably like 4 Ashleys on your team or something.
Probably.
Yeah, I think it's seen as like a sign of weakness. I heard the same thing from coach. Maybe it's a more defeated position. Laying down is definitely a defeated position, but yeah. What you're talking about, that thoracic position, and what I loved about the study is they said it optimizes the zone of apposition, the ZOA. And so the zone of apposition refers to a vertical area of the diaphragm that begins at the insertion point of the inside lower ribs and extends to the top of the diaphragm. So it's really like below the sternum and around the belly button area is about where that zone of apposition is. So if you put your hands on your knees and people are giving you crap for it, you can just tell them that you're optimizing your zone of apposition, and they can shut that.
Check out my ZOA, all right? Get off my back.
But I heard the same thing from coaches. Kyle, what'd you get from this one?
I don't really know what else I can share, actually. But, yeah, that's exactly what I got from coaches. It was, which is kind of hard to breathe with football pads on, no matter what position you're in. But yeah, putting your hands on your knees was like you're being lazy, or you're trying to get out of it or something like that. And so they would say, "Oh, stand up. That's where the air is. The air's not down there. The air's up here."
Oh, I've heard that, and I hated it. I hated it then. I hate it now.
Like you have no idea. Like this is painful. This hurts. I can't breathe. And it's like, anyway, I couldn't breathe when I stood up either, so it doesn't really matter. But
what do you guys do now, though? I'm curious. Like, if you guys do a really hard interval right now, like running or whatever, like what would your recovery posture be?
I go to my knees.
Hands on knees?
No, he just drops down to his knees.
Yeah. I'm in a prayer position, actually. No, I put hands on knees. I think subconsciously it's to like, I don't know, be like, hey, football coaches, I can do this now because I'm not on your team anymore. But no, that's just what I do. And it's hard to me. It's harder to like hold my hands behind my head when I'm trying to recover than it is to like support myself on my knees. Mm-hmm. And so that's the way that I do it.
Ashley, how do you recover now?
So I don't know if you remember this, but I think it was you, Jared. For some reason, I take little things from what people say and apply them all the time in random areas of my life. But you said something one time about, I never want to be that person on the ground right after. So I've always just walked. If I'm really tired, I don't just flop on the ground and breathe heavy. I walk it out and I try to control my breathing. I don't necessarily have my hands on my head, but I am standing up.
Yeah. Joe.
So typically, because when I'm in my gym, a lot of times the barbell would just be in the rack. So I usually go up to the barbell and lay my forearms on the rack, so my arms are off my sides, but I'm still able to open my chest and everything like that. So the arms aren't in the way, the arms, and I'm still completely standing up forward, so that I can just slow my breathing that way. Or I just find like something to put my arms on. And this is also kind of logic by last week when we talked about DiCarlo and the breathing ladder. When I would breast, I'd sit down and have my hands on my knees, but I'm sitting down with like sitting up, so that I'm not like using any wasted energy at all for like supporting my arms to my knees. It's just sitting up, arms out of the way, so I can actually take deep breaths and not moving to lower my heart rate.
Yeah, I kind of did a review, like mental review of like what I do. I'm pretty sure I'm hands on knees most of the time now. I think just naturally. I do know when I put my hands on my head, anytime someone's told me to do that and I do it, I feel like I can't breathe.
Yeah, that first breath. How is this any helpful?
I feel like it makes everything worse. But I heard those exact same things from football coaches, track coaches, people in the military, like put your, hands on your head. And I would do it because they say do it, right? And I didn't have the, I'm trying to optimize my ZOA quip, like ready to like just get in there and like prove them wrong. Do you know science, bro? Like you're telling me to put my hands on my head, and have you ever read a study? Like, come on.
But now when somebody says that, are you going to want to just put your hands on your head, or are you going to try and talk to them saying, you need to optimize your ZOA?
I was out of breath. Shut up. I'll talk to you in a minute.
Hey, well, now if you coach any team, like, don't you coach some of your Williams stuff, like football or anything like that, Jared?
Yeah,
now
soccer, yeah.
Yeah, making 8-year-olds do suicide so that they need to breathe.
Yeah, I don't
like
they
put
don't
your
get
hands
too
on your
winded.
knees.
Yeah, but I love this one. So everyone, like, I think it's a great recovery posture in between intervals. Like they tested it. I mean, really anything, because this is like that performance advantage stuff. I couldn't really use it it won't give you a faster time in anything unless you're resting during those times. But a lot of people just concluded Murph, if you're resting in Murph, maybe this is a better position to do that. And just something for people to know.
It was a major difference too. It's not like it was a small difference.
Yeah, it was all statistics.
The recovery periods were 3 minutes in between those 4 minutes of running. And the difference was a 22 beat per minute, like difference between hands to knees and hands on head. Like they lowered their heart rates by 22 extra beats per minute in the hands to knee position versus hands to head position. So it's not like it's just a little bit better. Like it's a lot better. It's a much better posture.
And I know when I put my hands on my knees, I lock my arms out completely. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like you're transferring the weight of your upper body to the top of your knees, and your legs can withstand a lot, and so it almost feels like you're weightless on top when you do that. And that's why I think I've always done it, because it's a relief position to like give your body a relief on gravity. So I don't know if there's a proper execution, but I completely lock out my arms. So it's bone on bone. I think if you were to like bend your arms a little bit, you'd be activating muscle the entire time. And so you might just get a little bit more fatigued. I don't know if that needed to be said, but people can do things wrong. So I just want to make sure everyone knows how to properly put your hands on your knees. Don't screw it up.
That was the protocol in the study too. They made sure to instruct them. You got to lock your arms out. So
one thing I thought was really funny from the study, because they never dive into some of these things further, and I would like to see it. People, when they were doing their interval sessions, they were given, quote, uniform verbal encouragement, end quote. I would just want to know what it is so badly, because I've done these tests with like nerd scientist stuff before, and it's just hilarious. But I could see someone in a white coat with their clipboard, and you're running, doing your bout, and they're like, "Good effort, try hard," and that's like at minute one, and it's like, okay, minute two comes up, and they're like, "Good effort, try harder," and it's like, emphasize harder the second time you say. They're giving uniform verbal encouragement. I just wish like I knew what that was,
or maybe it was different. I thought about this too, Jared, because I was like, they're all females, and typically, like for me, I don't know what it is. I like somebody kind of screaming in my face, telling me, "No, don't give up, don't quit." But for most females, they don't like that. They have to have like, you're doing a great job. Like, keep it up. You know, it has to be like super positive. So it could have been that too. Like maybe they had it all written out because they were like, all right, you got a lot of ladies here. You got to make sure that you're smiling and like, you've got this. You can do it.
See, they're reporting all the wrong data in these studies.
Exactly.
We need to know what that uniform verbal encouragement was so we can utilize it on other people. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I think that's it. We covered it. Rest with your hands on your knees. Anyone gives you crap for it, just give them the Zoa line and you're good. You guys have anything else on that one?
As I was coming up to record like 30 minutes prior, I told my brother, he's a lacrosse and soccer coach for high school. And I told him that and he was like, dang it. So I've been telling my players all wrong. Yes, you have. So now you know.
Yeah. I mean, I do want to say that you can't completely negate the mental side to training in general. Because if someone does want to lay down, or like Ashley was saying, she continues to move. To continue to move after you've done something really challenging is very hard. I mean, laying down, I think, is a bad thing to do. Like especially when the workout's over, because now it's just like, why are you laying down? But then at the same time, just stopping and putting your hands on your knees is great for recovery, but it is more challenging to continue moving. So there is that mental piece, and it's even harder to put your hands on your head. So are you trying to get somebody to recover, or are you trying to build their mental fortitude? So if you want to build their mental fortitude, make them do something that helps them recover less and just sucks more. So just keep in mind what you're training. All right, now we get into it's just a small topic. We're going to discuss and completely, cover in definitive way the future of fitness.
Definitive. Yes.
Definitive.
No pressure.
Yeah. Nothing ambiguous by the end. All right. So let's just throw that out there. Now, what we're doing, future fitness discussion, is just the pandemic has shown us a lot of things. I've been having conversations about this on different podcasts I've been interviewed on lately, and just some of these ideas of like what's changing, what's going to be different, and how can people be prepared for most likely when this happens again or surges back or whatever. Again, I don't need to get into my opinion of the pandemic situation, but the future of fitness we can talk about all day. Kyle, you haven't gone first. You want to give me some of your thoughts on the future of fitness? Sure.
I can go with that. I will say, I think a lot of people that don't normally notice, have noticed the uptick that we've seen in home gyms through the pandemic. People like us and people in our community obviously have seen this happening for years now. It's not something that's new to us. It's something that we expected when the pandemic first hit. There's probably going to be a lot of people buying stuff to do at home. And it's something that's kind of been around for a long time. But people that don't normally notice, people who are maybe going to try to get some home gym equipment because their gym closed down or something, realized, oh man, all the stuff is gone because people bought all of it, and so I think that the pandemic has kind of brought a more broad focus to kind of the home gym movement that's been happening. I don't know what kind of, I could speculate, but I don't know what kind of long-term effect that's going to have on commercial gyms. But I think there will be a percentage of people who can't wait to sell their home gym stuff and go back to their commercial gym.
I have a question about that. Do you think that's what's going to happen? And anyone else, feel free to chime in. But we saw all these companies, right? When the pandemic hit, like Rogue got flooded, they had to put out announcements. They shut down their supply chain for a day, all these things. They're still backed up. All the companies are doing it. Rogue, Fringe, all these, Titan. So we saw a huge surge of people ordering stuff, like Kyle said. But is that what you think people are going to do? You think people will be like, you know what, glad that's over? I don't think there will be a huge percentage of people that do that, but I think there will be a percentage of people. I think there's just a certain kind of person who just likes going to the gym, and they like the gym atmosphere, and they like the people in the gym, and maybe they're going to a gym where they actually have a trainer, and they're going
to have somebody yell in their face and force them through all that. Some people need that, some people need that kind of push. But I think that we're going to see more people just hanging on to the stuff that they have, and they kind of realize what we feel are the pros to having a home gym. They're going to see that now, and they're just going to stick with it. Now, I don't want to go so far as to say like all commercial gyms are going to disappear. I think there's always going to be a place for personal trainers in the commercial space, but I think we'll see more than anything, we'll see a higher retention of home gyms than maybe in the past that we've seen.
Yeah, I know this is just two examples from the last week. I had a conversation with an old military colleague of mine, and then also I got my hair cut. Probably should put that in the update. But
nowadays,
the girl who cuts my hair, they both had very similar things. They're like, I've been working out from home, and that's new for them. They normally go to the gym, and they both kind of had the same response of like, I actually really enjoy it more than I thought I would. And it's really cool to be able to work out from home, but they're looking for, program or something to follow. But their biggest concern is, it's self-awareness. They're like, I just don't know if I'm going to be able to stick to it. Just me being the only person here doing it every single day. And I think that's a valid concern for most everybody. But I think the two people I talked to were not like fitness fanatics, and they work out because they know that they should, and they are enjoying home fitness. And they're the only piece they're worried about is accountability. So that's just anecdotal for me. Joe, what do you think future fitness is?
I got a lot of thoughts. So as far as all of them. So as far as the equipment thing that Kyle was talking about, I think if people are going to sell them, it's going to happen right now as things are opening, because people are going to be like, yeah, I think I'm done with this. And it's probably just going to be a small amount of people that just want it out of their space, or they just didn't like it as much as they thought they would, and they're just going to get rid of it.
So a lot of deals coming up is what you and Kyle are saying, like possibly a lot of deals coming up on all the places you can sell equipment.
It'll be a small percentage, maybe not on, I guess for like with the marketplaces and stuff, but I think it'll be a small percentage. Anybody else, if you buy a piece of gym equipment, you're probably going to at least sit on it for a year, especially those thinking that, there might be a second surge come next flu season. So they just want to have a contingency for that. But I think this time next year is when everything will really be sold, because then people will have owned it for over a year. The second surge or whatever will already be done, and the pandemic will be a distant memory. And then people are going to realize that, like, okay, I didn't use this as much for this past year as I thought I would. Maybe I should sell it now. So I think that's as far as equipment for that landscape. So maybe not a ton right now, but I think there'll still definitely be some people getting rid of some things. As far as like getting back to the gyms, like Globo gyms and other things, like gym memberships, those that it's just not their thing to work out at home. I think a lot of gyms are going to have to do a lot of addition by subtractions, and that's getting rid of some of the negative things that people like to give up gym memberships for. They just need to like eliminate those, like, some like the contracts of how, the horror stories of like people trying to get out of their contracts and stuff like that. And the fact that, when gym shut down, I don't think people's first reaction was, okay, I need to get gym equipment for my house. So it's not what I need to get, it's what should I be doing? And they just started looking up programming, body weight stuff. So I think now they're going to look at a gym and be like, oh, okay, so now there's a place with equipment, but what do I do? Are they going to tell me what to do? So I think gyms are going to need to actually have like programming available for people, actual 4, 6, 8 week programs that are just there, a part of the membership, versus just here's some equipment, go to town. So I think they're going to have more of that total package programming, so that to tell people what to do and keep them actively engaged using their stuff, versus just here's some things, come, do it up.
Do you think gyms really care about that though?
If they want to have retention. Yeah. If they want to have retention, and like in the grand scheme of things, how hard, if you have personal trainers, and anybody can write a program kind of thing who knows what their standards are going to be. But if they just say they have a 6-week program, they can just tell their trainers, okay, all of you write a 6 or 8 week program, and then we'll just market it to our people. It's not going to take them long, but then it's something that they can just be like, hey, look, we have all of these programs.
And trainers listening to this who think that might happen, and when you realize you don't know how to program, we have some great resources for you at into3fitness.com.
Shameless plug. Boom. But as far as the garage gym space, this is definitely going to keep growing because of all the technology now and community things and apps. You know, Peloton has great apps and communities and people connecting there if that's just you want to bike. And then there's this one thing that I forget the name of it, but it's like a wall-mounted screen that you guys have seen probably.
There are a lot of new ones popping up, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's on this tension system where you attach either handles or bars and stuff, which is just crazy. And it's like, hey, for some people that just want to do a little bit here and there, that could be kind of cool. So, but just like those kinds of ideas and that technology coming out means that there's going to be so many opportunities to do this kinds of thing. And I was just watching the video that Coop did from Garage Gym Review saying that a company reached out to him that wants to do something like that with like that Peloton type community, but with a barbell and a rack kind of thing. So I'm
interested in that.
There's just all kinds of stuff. Okay, well, hey, we can just start doing it here. We'll start doing some videos. Now that you have the nice rack, let's just start shooting some videos.
Yep.
Wait, you want to try some other programming, Kyle? I just wanted to.
No, I'm interested. I'm interested in seeing that development in the fitness space. I think it'd be cool seeing that happen.
Because there's a lot of equipment, and people aren't normally familiar with it because it's so freaking expensive. But what they do a lot of these scientific tests on are like, these. I forgot the name of them. It's kinematic or something like that, where it's a continuous force pressure is applied on these things. So like they know exactly to the poundage how much something is doing. And it could be a bar attached to the floor that's like a deadlift. And you kind of have to see one of these things to use them. But bringing that technology to the masses, I think is pretty easy and could be done. My only problem with it, maybe that's the next great opportunity for Garage Gym Athlete as a business to pursue something like that. But I'm just still so of the mindset of like, let's get like fitness for real life. Like I still think these, like you have a resistance bar. Like I think that you lose some of the functionality of being a human and doing stuff like that. That's just my opinion of it. Like I said, it could be a faulty opinion that it was a great missed opportunity here, but I'm just not. I don't think it's what people really need. But I think it's a really cool. It's a business that will blow up soon, like shortly.
Yeah. Also, there's a lot of people, plenty of us that just don't want to mess with technology when we're working out. You just don't work out.
I almost like a heart rate monitor is almost too much. Like, why does this need to be here? All right, Ashley, what's up? I know you got some stuff.
For me, for the gym, I think if let's say you're sticking with the garage gym, especially since you're like, man, this is just easy. It's right here. I highly recommend Facebook Marketplace. And then what Joe and Kyle said, my husband and I are actually seeing. So Scott is every night, he's always checking Facebook Marketplace. We have a shared note of like what we want in our gym. And, if I think of something cool or if he thinks of something cool, we add to it. But we are just noticing like, there are rogue racks that people are trying to sell right now and all sorts of stuff, rowers. And so I think Facebook Marketplace is a cool place for that. Maybe even Craigslist. I don't really know anything about Craigslist right now, but so I think that would be beneficial to your wallet as well if you're trying to add stuff to your gym and add it slowly. But my suggestion is if you are getting back, let's say you've done nothing but body weight, because I know we have a ton of our garage gym members that have been doing no gear because some of them have their own gym memberships, or maybe you're just slowly adding barbells and adding stuff to your garage gym because of this whole thing. You need to take it kind of lax on the strength, like give yourself some grace on it because you have lost strength. I mean, that's just what it is. If you've just been doing nothing but body weight for 3 months now, you're not going to be able to potentially hit some of the higher percentages that you normally used to. But I would suggest don't the first day you go out and use a barbell or use any sort of weights, don't hit your new 1 rep maxes. Like don't try to max out the first day. Like what I would say is scale it back, use a lower percentage of, maybe some old numbers or maybe a training max, what you think would work better, and hit lower weight first and get your body used to those movements. And I promise the strength will come. So that was kind of my thought process behind this whole future of garage gyms, like people getting back into the actual weight training to it.
Yeah, and going from pandemic to not pandemic to pandemic to not pandemic.
Yeah.
So something one of my mentors said a lot during this time frame for business in general, he thinks that the future of business in every realm is going to be digitally based, physically enhanced. And if you're not that type of business, you're in trouble. So we're digitally based. We're barely physically enhanced. But I think that that's going to be true of the fitness industry in general. Is just all of these gyms, like Joe mentioned, programming becoming a part of like a gym, like CrossFit boxes provide programming. So they're kind of like that, but having some sort of digital base and then being physically enhanced somehow. Like what if, we have some people who've been through the coaching course who do hybrid model coaching. So they have a gym and where people come to the gym, but they also have remote clients that are still local, but they only meet with them like once a month. So they give them an online program to follow to do at home, and they do that for 30 days or weekly check-ins like Zoom or whatever. This was all before the pandemic. We helped some coaches set up these types of systems just to they were like, I'm kind of capped out of like people in the gym. Like, what can we do digitally? And then they have this come meet once a month and, we do a session together, test some things, talk about this in the next month and all that. I think that is I think that's the future of fitness in general, having some sort of digital base and being physically enhanced. And I just think that you're going to see that a lot more, like these home gym things coming up. But one thing I don't want people to get lost on, and this is why I've never cared about equipment. Like you mentioned Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. Like Coop does equipment. I do programming. You know what I'm saying? They're two completely different things. I have almost no interest in equipment. So when I get questions about equipment, it's hard for me to give you responses because I just, whatever works, man. If I don't have a pull-up bar, I'm going to go try to find out how to do pull-ups on the side of my house. That's what I'm going to do. I don't care if that's the best system or not. So I would just want to make sure people, whether you're pursuing Peloton or getting garage gym equipment or doing one of these bolt things to the wall, just don't think that that's your answer to if you have some sort of problem. You need to find out what happened to get you there in the first place. Because that's what people do a lot of times is if say overweight, bad habits nutritionally, and they start looking for a program and they're like, what's the program I can do? Or what's the next diet I can follow? Or what's the piece of equipment I can buy that's just going to change everything for me? Is it the Peloton? Is the Peloton going to just change everything for me? And it's no, it's not. There's something much deeper at play here to why you're in that position and why you can't get yourself out of that position. And that's what I think people need to focus on. So whether that is finding programming that works for you or finding out what the root cause of this stuff is, just be mindful, be aware of what's really causing the deeper issue here, because it's not going to be really anything that we're talking about that's going to solve your individual problems, the person listening to this. So you're going to have to go on that journey yourself and find out how to fix it. But,
yeah, I think that's something that we've seen as well is at least it's kind of the professionalization of home gyms. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like the companies that people are buying their equipment from and stuff like that have, the equipment that people are buying, it's kind of a different tier than it used to be, because the thing, home gyms are not new. Home gyms have been around for decades. I mean, you go back to how many of us have never seen a Total Gym commercial with Chuck Norris, you know what I mean? Or like the Gazelle with Tony Little, or all these DVDs or VHSs you can do.
Name drops.
All that kind of stuff. That's or back in the day when you had the concrete plates with the plastic coverings. You know what I mean? So many of us had that stuff, and it's home gyms are not new, but they're just they're kind of going through an evolution.
It's economies of scale. More demand, things got cheaper. I know even just when I started my garage gym, rings were $250 or something. And so I built them. Yeah. And I used to get so much crap for building rings. I'm like, you weren't around at the beginning, because they're $30 now, but I think you're right. There's just been a huge shift in the world.
Yeah. So I think it's not just that it's not that just that home gyms are kind of on an uptick. I think part of what's driving that uptick is the professionalization of the equipment, especially for like people who do CrossFit. Like you can actually buy the stuff that professional CrossFitters use in competition after the games are over. Like you can go to Rogue and buy the competition stuff, you know, or you can buy the exact same stuff they're using to train to go to the games. You know what I mean? It's like you can buy that exact same stuff. And so it's just it's an evolution that's really, to me, it's really cool to see.
Yeah. And if you go, I would encourage everyone to go back and listen to episode 1 of the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. The very first one I did, it's a short monologue about how we got here, how we got to garage gyms. And I go back from Jack LaLanne, Arnold, Tony Horton, Greg Glassman to, you know, here. So go back and listen to that. And I think you'll kind of find out, okay, this is where the Garage Gym Athlete podcast started. Here's where the pandemic happened. And now here's, you know, what the future is. But I just think that there's a huge shift in the industry in general. I mean, I don't shop. I buy everything on Amazon. And I used to hate doing, like, even clothes and shoes. Like, what if it's the wrong size? Well, it's so easy to return things now. Like companies used to just like pound you for that. They'd be like, oh, wrong size. Like, well, you're gonna have to pay $45 in shipping returns. I'm like, they're $65 shoes. Like, well, it's, you know, stocking fee and everything else. Like, okay. That was like back in the day, internet sales. Now it's like everything better work for me and be super convenient and everything. And that's just the way the world's moving in general. And I don't think the fitness industry is any different. People don't want to leave their houses. I think home gyms are the future. So there you go. Definitive. No.
Not controversial. No.
And I don't like to say home gym, garage gym. Coop got me accidentally saying that. It's a garage gym. It can be if you are a home gym athlete, I'm not hating on you, but I just feel like there's a big difference between someone who's working out in a garage gym, basement gym, or home gym, because they're very different.
When people ask Marco.
Well, no. You can have the same mentality and be in any space. So that don't get me wrong. But most of the time when I hear home gym, you have like a Peloton stuffed in the corner of your bedroom. That's what I think of when I hear home gym.
I got you.
Yeah.
Marco has a rack and a barbell in his living room, like
in a corner.
Yeah. So you can have the right mentality in exercise in any of those spaces. I'm just saying the reason I'm not normally comfortable when someone's talking to me and they're like, I have a home gym. I'm like, is it a yoga mat in a foam roller, or do you like have a legitimate gym? Like, what is it? And it's normally the former. So, yeah. All right, let's burn through Sally's Revenge. I can brief it.
I got it up.
Oh, okay.
So it starts off with a mile run for time. And right when you finish the mile, you're going into Sally Up push-up. So Sally Up is the Bring Sally Up song by Moby?
No.
Not the name of the song.
Green Sally Up.
Whatever.
But that's still not the name of the song. The name of the song is Flower.
We've had this conversation.
Because Moby is kind of weird.
Okay, well.
It's Bring Sally Up.
My workout brief's going well. So you play the Sally Up song for the pull-ups. If you don't know what it is, then it's on the programming there. You can just look it up, whatever the song is. It's called The Song or something. Then you rest for 3 minutes. Then you go to Sally Up push-ups, the entire song. And then you rest for 3 minutes. Sally Up squats. And then right after Sally Up squats, you go into another mile run. It's not for time or anything, just for completion. You can take your mile time for those, but I mean, all the reps are set for you for the Sally Up. It's just a grind and a challenge, and scale appropriately. Yeah, so I did watch the brief. I do give barbell recommendations. So recruit, I said, I think body weight, and then established was 45 to 95, and then a competitor was 95 to 135 pounds. I just say, like, anyone can go air squats if you want. It's a very tough. I did it at 135, and it's bad enough. Sally Up with a barbell is bad enough, but then throwing it into this workout makes it that much worse. And so if you feel like your form is going to start collapsing or you're not going to be doing it very well, just drop the weight or drop the barbell altogether. But if you want a good challenge and you know you can maintain form under stress, then do it. Give it a try. But don't get hurt trying to be stupid. That's it. What? Yeah, there's not really any tips. Yeah, you just scale accordingly. You know, you can even
say to that.
For the push-ups, go down to your knees even from the start if you need to, because they're going to go quick. and pull-ups.
Inverted body rows.
Yeah, rows, assisted, however you need to do those. The ones I like at the barbell and the rack with your feet kicked out on the box are great because it takes a lot of weight off of you if you can do those.
Or if you're really good at body weight stuff and you want to challenge, my tip was throw on a vest, make this even harder. Make it
I don't even know if Jared could do it with a vest.
Yes, he can. Yes, you could.
Not the pull-ups.
Not the pull-ups.
I don't think I could last the whole song. Well, could I drop from the bar? That's
yes. Yeah.
So when I do it, no vest, I try to not drop from the bar. But
well, I drop from the bar for the pull-ups because I can't. There's no way I would be able to get through the pull-ups with that. So.
Well, I can't, since I have 2 pull-up bars in my garage now. One's short, one's tall. I can't. But when I had the tall one, a big reason why I never dropped is because I didn't want to jump back up there.
That thing sucked. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. My verticals increased. Any other tips from anybody?
Yeah, nothing. A mile's a mile. You do it twice.
Yeah. Miles, do it twice. Yeah. Trying to think if I got anything else. No, it's all.
There's no jams recommendations because you got to listen to the same song over and over again.
Air squats.
Go ahead.
I already gave a whatever recommendation on weights, but for the squats, do not. I used to do Sally Up with people in the military all the time, and just as a cool down. I was mean as all get out. Anyway, what I would always see is people completely dropping all form once they're in that bottom position, because there are times where it's you're down and then you have a longer, you have to be down for a longer period of time. Don't stick your stomach out and round your back and all these keep form. Not just because it'll be harder and I want it to be harder for you. It's safer. If you're going to be in a position, you need to be in a position, not this weird knee collapsing, rounded back, whatever. Am I getting angrier as a podcast?
Yeah, you are.
A little bit.
Yeah, okay. I agree. I'm at the bottom of the squat at the holding it, and I'm at the lowest part I could ever be, but my back is up and I'm holding, because especially if you have a barbell, don't round your back with a barbell. You're going to hurt yourself. So
it might even help your form if you hold an empty barbell.
Yeah. Or a kettlebell in the front.
Oh, come on.
No.
Okay. We're going to have to call it here. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I didn't mention at the beginning because we've talked about it a lot, but there's a new book out, Killing Comfort. If you want to grab that, just released the planner. I think a lot of people didn't even know that was happening. So the Killing Comfort planner is available now. It's free with your purchase. You just have to let us know that you purchased the book and we'll send you the planner. So if you haven't done that, go to killingcomfort.com. You can get the book in Amazon, a bunch of different formats. You also grab the audiobook at killingcomfort.com. And if you want to be a part of the training that we're doing each and every single day, do it. GarageGymAthlete.com. Sign up for a 14-day trial, join the community, and become a better human. That's all I got for this week. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Moon. The Garage Gym Athlete Podcast is a result of my desire to build better humans, unequivocal coaches, and autonomous athletes. I've spent the last several years obsessing over program design, nutrition, and every other way you can optimize human performance. This podcast distills the latest scientific research with what I've learned and blends it with the not-so-scientific field of mental toughness. We are here to build you into a dangerously effective athlete. If you enjoy this podcast, you can find out more about our training at GarageGymAthlete.com. And if you want to pursue more into the field of coaching and programming, head to endof3fitness.com. Thanks for listening.